and welcome to our very last show for 2021. And what a year it's been. I've cooked up a storm here every week, and I'm so grateful for all your support throughout the year. But we're not done yet. We've got one more class to go, and I'm making you the festive ice cream pudding, which was voted on when we asked what you wanted for Christmas recipes. So this recipe is out of book one. And there it is. Isn't it magnificent? And it seems very appropriate to do an ice cream pudding because, I mean, Christmas here, we don't have snow outside. We have sun and beaches. So this is a great one for the hot Christmas day. So I'm making this one out of the book here. But the good news is you can also find it in my new book, More Cooking for Two, which was released a couple of weeks ago. I've got it in here, and it's just such a great one for those that are just doing a small Christmas. So it's the same recipe but serves 4, and in this book it serves 16. So that's just going to give you the option there. And because I'm feeling very generous, you need to stay tuned to the end to find out what is going to be the prize for this week. All right, so now let's look at who was the winners from last week's show. It went off. It was the asparagus, snow pea and almond salad, and everyone was loving it, which I'm very grateful for, a new recipe. And we have 3 very excited winners. We have Leslie Cobden, Susan Sadler and Glenda Watson, all winning the very brand new More Cooking for Two personally signed. All right, so let's look at the recipe ingredients we need. It's a very simple one, and I'm really excited to show you how easy this is. And I mean, really, I didn't call it a Christmas pudding because I think, you know what, let's have it all year round. Why not? Okay, so we start with the dried fruit. So it's mixed dried fruit. We want 2 cups. I've also got some glacé cherries here because I never think they put enough in the mix, and I love it when you're cutting into the ice cream and you see the little pops of red from the glacé cherries. So I'm actually going to chop up some extra to put in to make it up to the 2 cups. I've got natural almonds here, and it's either 3/4 cup or 100 grams. And I'm actually going to toast them, so I'm going to start that off right now. And so we're going to toast them because with nuts, if you do, they get crunchier. The flavour bomb is so much more appropriate. Like, it really comes out when you're eating something when the nuts have been roasted. So I'm just going to pop them in now and just give them a little cook-off. Now, as I said, we've got the dried fruit, 2 cups. I've got some glacé cherries. I'm just going to chop up some to put in there. Now, we're going to put 60 mils of brandy in the mix. Now, you can use rum if you wish. It's up to you. Now, if you don't want to use alcohol, because some people, like if you're making it for children or you don't want alcohol in it, then replace it with 60 mils of fresh orange juice. So there you go. We've got the mixed spice, and it's 1.5 teaspoons. So you really do get the flavours of a Christmas pudding. And the most important ingredients here is my softening ice cream. So I always really like for this one the Peter's Light and Creamy Vanilla. I find it really sweet, really creamy. Who knew it was so low in fat? All right, so let me just toss my nuts around. I've also got my pudding tin. It's a 8-cup one, I think it is, yes. And you're going to line that with some cling wrap, and it goes in the freezer. So we're good to get started. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start soaking the fruit. Now, in the recipe, I tell you to try and marinate or leave it to soak in for about an hour. Now, I don't have an hour. So we're just going to go as quickly as we can. But I want you to, if you can, allow a little bit of extra time for that, because it will really plump up and really make the fruit more flavoursome. So what we're going to do now, you don't have to do this, you can just do straight mixed dried fruit. But what I'm going to do is add quarter of a diced up glacé cherries, and just bring it up to equal the 2 cups. Now you can sometimes at Christmas time get the glacé cherry that's green and yellow and red. So I do like the green in there as well if you have that. And they don't, the glacé cherry is definitely not as red as it used to be because they've stopped with all the food colouring. But one year what I did, because I really wanted it to really pop with the red, I actually put some red colouring with the glacé cherries and just let them soak in that for a little bit, and they came up absolutely fabulous. Yeah, so you just have to sort of dry them off so you don't get red everywhere. But there's my extra addition of some glacé cherries. As I said, you don't have to do that. Oh! All right, so there's the nuts done, and I'm going to just pop them down there to cool and move this out of the way because I'm going to chop them up. Let's get this out of the way. Now you can, if you wish, you could just use slivered almonds, you know, the ones that often you put in cakes. You can do that, but I honestly do like using the shelled almonds because that way you actually see the almonds. And as you can see here, it's just a rough chop and it gives a bit of colour to the pudding because it's very white with the almonds. But please make sure you toast them. You can toast them under the grill, put some foil on the tray and do it that way. But just watch them so that they don't burn. Now this makes enough for 16 for Christmas Day. You could make it now, get ready for Saturday, and then forget about it. And then you just got to bring it out and wow your guests. Some years I've made both. I've had the hot one and the cold one, and I find the younger generation tend to favour the ice cream one a bit more. It's not as traditional, but when you have it, you will taste like that Christmas thing you expect. All right, so now I'm going to, well, as I said, you would leave this for an hour normally, but we're jumping ahead, okay, because we haven't got an hour. So I'm now going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of mixed spice. And just smelling this, it makes me think Christmas. And if you watched the show, I did do the Christmas pudding for you the other week. So if you missed that, then go either to YouTube or go back and look for the video making the traditional Christmas pudding. And of course there is a Christmas section in book 2, and so you've got lots of great recipes in there to enjoy that are guilt-free and low in fat and actually low in sugar too, because I find that when you're adding the dried fruit, I find that's enough sweetness to go in. You don't need to really add a lot more sugar to it. So there's my almonds. All right, so, and the other thing that someone did one time, which I thought was quite clever, they made like a brandy sauce to go with the ice cream pudding, and I thought, wow, that's a bit of extra work, and I'm not huge on brandy, so we never have done it, but I've heard it was very nice to do that if you want to add a little zhuzh to it. And as I said, you can use brandy or rum, and if you don't want to put alcohol in, then no problem, just use orange juice. All right, so that is the filling, all the fruit done. Here's my big bowl of 2 litres, and remember it's the light and creamy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mash it up. So we don't want big, because it changes colour a bit when you add the fruit, it's good to just give it a mash. See how it's soft, but it's slightly melting. If you look there around the edge, that's fine. It doesn't matter because we're going to put it back into the freezer, and I would suggest you at least freeze it overnight. And one little thing to tell you is it melts quickly. I think it's the humidity here in Queensland doesn't help it either. So if you have a cold Christmas, it might be right. But I would, when you get it out, put it onto a cold plate. Okay, don't put it in the freezer, a plate that you want to serve it on, so it's cold when you put it on. And I think you'll find that it'll hold a little bit better for you. But I find that when I serve it, it goes very quickly. It's just a fun thing to have. I think it's so more appropriate for our climate to have an ice cream Christmas pudding. And if you have, by any chance, leftovers, then you can refreeze it. All right, so in goes the nuts, the brandy, the mixed fruit, and the spice. And now I'm just going to get my wooden spoon and just blend that together. Oh my God, I wish we had smeller cam, because this is just so beautiful, the smell. Yum. Now the good news is as I said, I've made it in the more cooking for 1 or 2. So if you thought, well, I don't really want to have 16 serves, then you can do it just for 4. So that's fantastic. And I just used like a small glass bowl, not this big, a small glass bowl, like a 3 cup. And I'm just going to now go through it. If I've got any lumps of the white ice cream, I just want to combine it a bit. Looking good. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the tin. Now, I found that, you know, putting the cling wrapping can be a bit challenging. And I think what works, let me get rid of this. This is melting everywhere. It really helps if you actually have a wet surface with the cling wrap. So, gosh, Annette's a messy cook, isn't she? All right, so I'm just going to quickly go over and I'm just going to wet the tin. You could use a bowl, because really you don't need the lid like you do with the other Christmas pudding. You just can put cling wrap on the top. Okay. So what we're doing is we're just going to line the tin, because it helps to get it out. And we want to be able to get it out, don't we? There we go. As I say, it is a little bit challenging because it moves, but please do the cling wrap. Might just have a little bit over here, and it's good. There we are. Perfect. So there it is in the coating, and actually I'll get another scooper. Where is it? All right, so now we just pour it into the dish, and then in the freezer, as I said, at least overnight. Oh, it's looking great. So in it goes. Serve 16. Or when it comes to Bill, it's probably 4. He loves it. There we go. Try and have it sitting somewhere in the freezer that it's flat, so it doesn't get an angle to it. I mean, how easy is that? And I'm just going to put the lid on now, but you could just put cling wrap over that if you wished. And there we go. And I'm just going to pass that to my gorgeous Billy to put it in the freezer, because I don't want it to sit there and melt. Right, so there we go. Our last recipe for 2021. Now, if you want to win, you really do like to be a winner, don't you? Because who doesn't in life? So what you can do is you like, share, and in the comments, you're going to write hashtag Symply Too Good. So hashtag Simply with a Y, Too Good. And you will then go in the draw to win book 1 and more Cooking for 1 or 2. That's right. The 3 winners this week will win 2 books. And if you really don't want book 1 and you maybe say, I haven't got book 7 in my series, you can swap it. I'm going to let you choose. But that's what I'm thinking about. 2 cookbooks for our last show for the year, because both of them have the Festive Ice Cream Pudding in the book. Now, when you think about ice cream and a pudding, I want to show you a finished product. So what I did is I made the Festive Ice Cream Pudding. We're going to do it now, Billy? It's in the freezer, of course. And I made the small one for 4 in the more Cooking for 1 or 2. Because I thought if I make 2 big ones, we're going to be eating Festive Ice Cream Pudding until like next Christmas. So here we go. Here it is. There is the Festive Ice Cream Pudding for 4, and it's out of the More Cooking for 1 or 2. Now, before I go, I think it's important that we say thank you to you for supporting the show. So I'd like to ask my team to come out now so we can celebrate the year that we've had. So here we go. Here's Diane and Billy wearing his pudding hat. We just want to say thank you for supporting the show. It's been a big year. And, you know, with the release of the new book, my broken arm, COVID, let's not go there. It's been an interesting year.
It has.
It sure has.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment at the Simply Too Good headquarters either. So now remember, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? And if you want more tips or recipes, you go to simplytoogood.com.au. And from us here, Merry Christmas!
Bye now.
I'll be back next year. Yes, I'm not going too far away. I'll be back the first Thursday in February. I think it's the 3rd. Yes, the 3rd of February. So mark it in your diary. I'll be back cooking again for you. And thank you to Diane. And thank you, Billy. He's got to go and man the camera. Without these guys, I couldn't do what I do, I tell you now. And they put up with all my joy. You know what I was going to say. Anyway, guys, thanks for being with us. And you have the very best Christmas. And I wish you a healthy and happy 2022. Bye now.
Merry Christmas.